Aono Tsukune is an average teenager who failed his high school entrance exams. So, in a last bit of effort from his parents, they enroll him into Youkai Academy. Little do they know that this academy is basically monsters learning to coexist with humans. They attend school in human form, learning and performing basic human activities. But there's one unbreakable rule. Any human found on campus must immediately be executed. On his first day, Aono encounters a beautiful girl, Mocha, who in reality is a blood-sucking vampire. Unknown to her reality, he makes every bit of effort to woo this maiden, and thus begins Aono's high school days, unknown to the terror that he's surrounded by. After a chance encounter in the night, Aono Tsukune's father was able to secure his admission into a high school despite the boy failing his entrance exams. Nervous about this boarding school, Tsukune boards the bus on his first day and is taken through a tunnel to a strange new area. With his nervousness increased even more by the surroundings, he gets off the bus and begins walking to the school. On his way there, he bumps into a beautiful girl. She introduces herself as Moko Akashiya, a vampire. Tsukune just brushes this off as a joke, thinking she's not serious even after she bites him and sucks his blood. When he reaches Youkai Academy, though, he's in for a surprise. He discovers this is a school created just for monsters. The whole point of the school is to teach monsters how to live alongside humans in the normal world. From the staff to the students, everyone here is a monster in their human forms, and any actual humans found are executed. Tsukune freaks out at this, worried for his life. Thankfully, Mocha turns out to be a student here as well and spends the day with him, letting him avoid other monsters. At the end of the day, Tsukune wants to return to the human world, and after an argument with Mocha, he reveals he's a human and heads back to the bus stop. Back with Mocha, another student who's jealous she spends her day with Tsukune attacks her. The fight reaches Tsukune and the boy rushes in to save Mocha. The boy, revealing himself to be an orc monster, beats Tsukune to a pulp. So as he lay in Mocha's arms, he accidentally pulls off the rosary she wears around her neck. This causes a transformation in Mocha. Her hair turns white as her eyes go red and her expression turns flat. This is her true vampire form. Turning to the orc, she attacks him and defeats the orc with a single kick. When Tsukune awakens from his injury and shock, he finds himself in Mocha's lap, her human form, that is. She is happy that he still likes her and will stay in this school after all. Unable to control herself, she goes in for yet another bite, sucking up the boy's blood. On the way to school one day, Tsukune runs into Mocha again. As the two rush to school, Mocha ends up losing control and drinks his blood again. Getting flustered, Tsukune rushes off. In a clearing, he meets another girl who seems sick, so he helps her to school. Throughout the day, this new girl, Kurumu Korone, uses some sort of magic to make him focus only on her. This makes him say mean things to Mocha whenever she tries to interrupt the two. Upset by his words, Mocha is by herself when the voice of her other form speaks from her rosary. It tells her that succubus like Kurumu enslave men with a kiss and use them till they die. Concerned for Tsukune, Mocha rushes to where he is to save him. Reaching the nurse's office, she pushes Kurumu out of a window before she can kiss Tsukune. She explains what Kurumu really is, but then the succubus drags them both outside. As she attacks the two, Tsukune stands to defend Mocha, grabbing her rosary off her neck. Transforming into her other form, Mocha dodges all of Kurumu's attacks and appears behind her. She defeats the succubus with a single hit, going to finish her off. Tsukune stops her though, telling her Kurumu doesn't seem like a bad person and they can all be friends. The next day, Kurumu joins the two on their way to school, claiming that she's fallen in love with Tsukune. The three continue on to school as the girls fight over who gets to be with him. A girl in a witch costume is seen stalking Mocha. This is Yukari Sendo, a young genius witch who skipped a bunch of grades and now sits in the class next to Mocha and Tsukune's. When she starts getting bullied by her class president, who hates her for being a witch, Mocha intervenes and saves her. The girl catches on to Mocha, revealing her crush on the vampire. She spends the rest of the day hanging off of Mocha and using magic to keep Tsukune away from them. Tsukune scolds the girl for her acts, but she just says she doesn't care about what other people think, since they just look down on her anyways. The girl rushes off with Mocha following behind her, while Kurumu explains to Tsukune how unfairly witches are treated. Outside the school, Yukari is being attacked by her class president and his friends, who turn out to be lizard men. Mocha comes to her rescue, telling the girl she's not alone anymore. Tsukune and Kurumu arrive as well, saving the two when the lizard men attack again. As the group take a stand against the lizard men, Tsukune grabs Mocha's Rosario, transforming her again. Mocha, in her other form, quickly defeats the lizard men, saving the group. Tsukune gives Yukari some words of encouragement that help her realize her value. The next day, Mocha and Kurumu walk into class to see Yukari declaring her love for Tsukune. The three enter a fight for the boy, each of them claiming he's theirs. One day at school, Tsukune is confronted by three boys who claim to be the fan club of Mocha, Kurumu, and Yukari. As the one who's closest to all three of them, these guys hate Tsukune and begin beating him up out of jealousy. The girls arrive on the scene to save him, but Tsukune is upset over not being able to protect himself and having to rely on others. The next day, Yukari sees Tsukune heading for the bus stop and tells Mocha, who freaks out. Frightened that he's leaving for the human world, the girl rushes to him alongside Kurumu and Yukari. Meanwhile, the fan club guys are attacking Tsukune again. When the girls arrive, they save Tsukune again and have a touching moment as they tell him he's saved them all in his own way already. The boys fuse together into a disgusting monster and attack again, but Tsukune pulls off Mocha's rosary, transforming her. With Kurumu and Yukari's help, she easily destroys the three creeps. They find out that Tsukune was only at the bus stop to mail some letters, and Mocha had overreacted. Thus, the whole issue is resolved. As they discuss what club to join, their teacher interrupts. She offers to let them join the newspaper club, which they agree to along with the other girls. As the newspaper club's first meeting takes place, Tsukune and the girls meet Jinei Morioka, a junior who acts as the club president. Jinei decides that the first story will be about the peeping Tom around school recently. Unknown to any of the others, Jinei has a crush on Mocha and will do anything to get Tsukune out of his way. With this goal in mind, he puts Tsukune in suspicious situations and frames him for being the peeping Tom, creating a gap between him and Mocha, who hates perverts. While Mocha is upset by this, Kurumu and Yukari carry out their own investigation, unable to believe Tsukune would do such things. That night on the roof of the school, Jinei tries to make a move on Mocha, only to be rejected. As he tries to convince her of Tsukune's guilt as an attempt to make her hate him, the other girls arrive. They've figured out the real peeping Tom was Jinei himself. Jinei abandons his current approach, deciding he can just take Mocha by force. With the full moon out, he reveals his true form, a werewolf. Fortunately, Tsukune shows up just in time to pull Mocha's rosary off and release her other form. As the other Mocha stands off against Jinei, they seem evenly matched until the moon goes behind some clouds. His powers weaken, Jinei is now no match for the Lady Vampire. Mocha delivers a few devastating blows and ends the fight quickly. The next day, Tsukune and the girls publish a news story about how Jinei framed Tsukune for his own actions as the peeping Tom. After a huge success for the newspaper club, they decide to hold a party to celebrate. That is when they encounter a strange girl named Mizori Shirayuki. This girl turns out to be a missing student who hasn't attended any classes since school started. After class, she speaks to Tsukune, telling him how much she likes his writing and how she can relate to his point of view. Later, Shirayuki takes him out to a lake where she tries to make him abandon his friends in favor of her. Revealing herself as a snow woman who can control ice, she freezes the lake. Luckily, Kurumu and Mocha arrive on the scene, saving Tsukune. Heartbroken at Tsukune's rejection, she runs off. Later, the newspaper club finds out that Shirayuki apparently froze a teacher and is now at risk of being expelled. Thankfully, Jinei happens to be nearby and got some photos of what really happened. The teacher was harassing her in her sad state, and Shirayuki was only acting in self-defense. The girls and Tsukune try to help her, convincing her to be friends with them so she doesn't have to feel lonely anymore. The next day, she arrives to school with a new haircut and thanks them for giving her a second chance. With finals week coming up, Tsukune asks Mocha to tutor him as he hasn't had the time to study with all the crazy things that have been happening. Hearing about their plans, Shirayuki, Kurumu, and Yukari are quick to join as well for their own reasons. With a successful study event completed between all of them, Mocha offers to make a copy of all her notes for Tsukune. The next few days, Tsukune looks completely dead inside while walking around school, worrying his friends. When Mocha eventually decides to check on him during his tutoring session, the math teacher, she finds something terrible. She is a Lamia who's been using her powers to torture Tsukune into learning. With the help of Shirayuki, she manages to wake Tsukune from his condition. Removing her rosary for her, Tsukune allows the other Mocha to come out and defeat the math teacher with ease. When finals roll around, though, he's frightened as all the knowledge that teacher gave him disappeared with her defeat. With Mocha's help, he still manages to pass alongside the rest of the girls. Kurumu fails quite badly, though. Later that night, Yukari heads back up to the field feeling dejected as everyone keeps treating her like a helpless child. Right then, a girl appears and introduces herself as Ruby. She tells Yukari she's a witch too and has been watching her since she got here. She would like to be friends with Yukari and take her to her master. While Yukari thinks about it, Tsukune arrives. The boy was looking for her, worried by her disappearance. Unfortunately, Ruby doesn't realize Tsukune isn't one of the normal humans who've been trying to steal her land and attacks him with a bunch of plant monsters. Mustering up her courage, Yukari defeats these monsters with an amazing display of magic. As the other girls arrive looking for them, Yukari tells Ruby she can't go with her, as she already has friends. The girl turns to leave, but Ruby has other plans, hitting Tsukune with a fatal attack. Enraged by this, Mocha snaps, transforming into her other self for the first time without taking off her rosary. Shirayuki and Kurumu activate their powers as well, all three of them attacking Ruby with untold rage. After waking in the newspaper club's tent following her defeat, Ruby explains her situation to the others. She tells them of how the sunflower field was once a home for witches, named Witch Hill, but the humans came and destroyed much of it for the sake of development. She refused to let what little is left be destroyed as well, and has decided to kill all humans to prevent this. Hearing this, the others offer to let her come to Youkai Academy with them so she can have a new home. Beginning to have doubts in herself because of this, Ruby sneaks off in the night back to her master's home. When Tsukune and the others realize she's gone, they rush up to Witch Hill in search of her. When they get there, though, Ruby attacks them with a massive army of plant monsters that were growing under the sunflower field. Tsukune removes Mocha's rosary, but even the vampire isn't able to stand up to the sheer numbers of the army. As a last resort, Tsukune decides to go to the house he sees in the distance to try and make Ruby's master free her. While the others are defeated and trapped by Ruby, Tsukune returns from the house with news that destroys Ruby's spirit. Her master, who she loves so much, has been dead for a long time. Unable to deal with the loss, Ruby has created another version of her in her own mind and has been acting on its wishes this whole time. Deep in shock, Ruby uses a forbidden spell to transform herself into a giant monster. Things seem hopeless for the newspaper club. Luckily, Yukari comes up with a plan. Since witches can't use magic without their wands, if they get rid of rubies, she should become powerless. Following this advice, Mocha destroys the girl's wand, causing a massive explosion of energy. The next morning, the group are all ready to leave when Janae arrives on their bus. Shockingly, he's carrying Ruby in his arms, back in her human form. With a new term starting at Youkai Academy, the newspaper club are fired up to release their latest edition. When they go to do so, though, they find that a rival club has been opened, the Super Newspaper Club. Having more appealing newspapers due to their color and pictures, they're quickly gaining more popularity than the original club. To make matters worse, their teacher informs them whichever club is less popular is going to end up being shut down. While Kurumu attempts to fight them and raise their own club's popularity for a while, Janae makes his own orders as president clear. Their club is to give up and burn their newspapers at the incinerator. He discovered that the people behind the Super Newspaper Club are the Security Committee, a bunch of students that are corrupted by the power they hold and use force to get whatever they want, abusing their authority regularly. When Tsukune and Kurumu go to the incinerator to do so, though, the rival club's female member and her minions arrive and attack them. She reveals her true form of a Jorogumo, a spider monster, and traps Kurumu in a web. Luckily, the other girls arrive at this time and Tsukune is able to remove Mocha's rosary. This allows her to defeat the woman in just a few moments, using her own web to pull her into an attack. With the last display of corruption, the newspaper club resolves to expose the security committee no matter what. The newspaper club do their best to collect evidence of the security committee's corruption in the form of pictures and witnesses. Unfortunately, this results in Tsukune being arrested by their leader, Kuyo, under the suspicion of being a human. They take him along with Mocha, Kurumu, and Shirayuki all to a shrine where they show Tsukune images of his friends being interrogated in other rooms. Eventually, Tsukune breaks, admitting he's a human so his friends won't be hurt anymore. However, this was just a trick. His friends were hidden in the same room as him the whole time and heard everything. While Kurumu and Shirayuki are released, Mocha is held in a prison cell. Kurumu and Shirayuki are disgusted by the fact Tsukune was lying to them this whole time and go their own ways. Later, the security committee makes an announcement. Aono Tsukune, the human, will be publicly executed at 4:44 p.m. in the school courtyard. In the form of a crow, Ruby appears to each of the newspaper club members and gathers them for Tsukune's rescue. Arriving in the courtyard, Ruby and Kurumu grab Tsukune from where he's held and fly him to the academy's roof. Here, Mocha arrives to reunite with him. Right as they do so, Kuyo also appears and pierces Tsukune with a fire spear. As Tsukune seemingly breathes his last, he thanks Mocha for their time together and removes her rosary, telling her to protect their friends. Awakened, Mocha blows Kuyo away with a single kick before returning to Tsukune. She knows a way to save him, but the chances are low. Kuyo emerges from where he was thrown to in his monster form, a fox demon. As he gathers his magic for a huge attack, Janae appears on the roof to take the blow for the others. The powerful monster doesn't take long to defeat all those gathered on the roof, though Shirayuki is able to shield them from his fire a little with her ice. With the blood transfusion complete, Mocha rushes at the man who is now changed to his ultimate form. As she tries to hurt him but fails, she realizes she's weakened from how much blood she gave to Tsukune. When Kuyo launches a final killing attack, Tsukune finally manages to rise and save Mocha from it. With her resolve returned to her, Mocha rushes at Kuyo and with help from Janae, who holds him in place from behind, she manages to defeat him with a superpowered kick that blows him clean through the building. With everyone at the academy believing Tsukune was the one to beat Kuyo, his reputation is restored. Things soon go back to normal with the security committee now exposed. In the infirmary, Mocha wakes to see Tsukune by her bedside. The two share a heartwarming moment where Tsukune realizes he's even falling for the other Mocha now. Right as they're about to kiss, the other girls all barge in and demand he kiss them first, much to Mocha's displeasure. The end. Check out this next anime recap appearing on the screen.